driving a 2023 Acura Integra. Coming up, Evie, who is not always a fan of driving manual transmissions, is going to drive this manual transmission. But first, information explosion. The Acura Integra is a small, premium, four-door sedan, though it is a liftback, so it's not really a sedan. It's based on Honda's small vehicle global architecture, so it has a little commonality with the Honda Civic and the Honda HR-V, but it is not just a rebadged Civic. Let's begin with interior. So many potholes.
Oh my gosh.
A pothole is when there's a big hole in the road, and we've got a bunch of them right now because of our recent winter weather storms. As you were saying, tell us about that interior.
The interior feels pretty luxe. I really like this metallic looking plastic. It reminds me of like every single item of clothing they sold in Hot Topic in the early 2000s. There's this metallic look to the vents. These look and sound
Yeah, the little
really
clickiness.
nice.
That's nice. And you know, there are soft elements here. One element that I wish was soft is down here. The side of my knee is constantly rubbing and bumping up against this, and it's very, very hard plastic. So that's my one little point of complaint.
Another thing I'm a fan of is the interior storage. There's a little spot of door storage here.
We're gonna call that the sauce pocket. Like when you go to McDonald's or something and you get like the sweet and sour, you can just like put it right there.
Oh, I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
Nothing.
My God.
One complaint I do have is that I always like to bring my big coffee mug, and you always like to bring your big water bottle, and neither one of them fit in the door storage, but it will accommodate a little can.
And then we've got two cup holders with unlimited vertical height, which is nice. As far as the interior is arranged, it's very classic Acura Honda, where everything is just super intuitive. If I have one complaint, there are no vents in the back for our daughter, because we love her. Isn't that right, sweetie?
You just don't want to sit here because you don't love me, and I stink.
That was a very funny riff you went on. We'll deal with that in therapy, but the thing we're dealing with the vent situation is really more of an Acura thing. Back up front, how do you find the seats?
I find the seats very comfortable, and even though I'm missing some adjustability that you have on your side, I don't miss it.
So the static lumbar is adequate for you?
It is.
I've got power adjustable lumbar support over here, and it is very, very comfortable. I'm not experiencing any pressure points. I am getting like maybe just constricted ever so slightly in the shoulder region, but in a very good way, in that it feels like it's supporting me laterally, but not squeezing me uncomfortably. I really like these seats. And then for space, when I move to the back seat, legroom is excellent, but my head rubs against the headliner. I am 5'10" with a long torso. And also that middle position, there's just not enough space laterally for somebody to sit in the middle comfortably for a long period of time, unless they're a real little kid. Speaking of little kids, child, how do you find getting in and out of this car?
I find it easy.
Okay, and now can you say that in a way that's not super creepy?
I find it very, very easy, and I'm not being creepy.
Well done.
Well done, yay! Oh, and any issues with getting the car seat installed?
The car seat was very easy to install. There are latch flaps covering it,
Latch flap.
which I have been a fan of, but now that I've gotten used to a lot of different latch points, I actually find them a little cumbersome.
You have to flap it out, but that's because you're always using it. If once we're empty nesters, maybe you'll be happy to have the latch flap, because then you'll never have to think
true.
about the latch points.
Yeah, so it just depends on how frequently you are changing out your car seat.
Latch flaps really are a time of life feature. Distracting us from all that latch flap philosophy, let's talk about the cargo area. There are 24.3 cubic feet of space, which is good for a small vehicle. This is really a hatchback, and well, they call it a liftback, but you lift up that hatch and easy access. The only challenge, I guess, would be you kind of have to lift over that rear lip, but there's a lot of space to work with, and if you had something really big, like back in my day when I was playing in bands, getting a bass amp into the back of this thing would have been no problem. And then you got the standard 60-40 split rear seats, and they fold fairly flat, so there's a lot of really good workable space back there. There's a small underfloor cargo area, a couple little slots for small item storage, especially when you live up here in the mountains. You need a little like sun sundry spots. Yeah, like a bear spray nook or something.
Sometimes those slots are only small enough for a bear bell. Like they're really tiny, but these, you could actually put like a small purse back there.
A bear purse?
I feel like a bear would need a large purse.
Oh no, that's where you're wrong. They go tiny. It makes them look bigger. The point of all that is that the Acura Integra is good for hauling stuff. As for safety, the NHTSA has not rated the Integra, but it is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. It also has a full suite of active driver assist, standard lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot warning. It also has 10 airbags standard, and then it also includes full speed adaptive cruise control. And I'll just quickly mention that driving this thing on the freeway, the lane keeping assist function works really well. It's very smooth. It doesn't do those kind of like jittery, desperate moves.
It's no Evie Muzio.
Where's my bear spray? Family, what do we think? Is the Acura Integra family friendly?
Family friendly.
Yes, small, family friendly. Rear window test. Almost all the way down. Armrest test. Okay, driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, my arms do not touch the armrest. It's not exceptionally soft, and there is stitching on the edge there. Outboard, it's much softer out here, but I think the difficulty of actually using them while keeping my hands on the steering wheel is gonna cost them. I'm gonna go 55% inboard, 60% outboard. Hey! Would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family, plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you're welcome to subscribe. Style! The Acura Integra is an interesting combination of contemporary Acura design. So you've got the pentagonal grille. No, they started calling it a pentagon grille because nobody could pronounce pentagonal correctly. They've got the grille, they've got the chicane style headlights, but they've also tapped into some history. So you've got the embossed Integra on the front and rear fascias. Just the body design too. The very first Integra was a 4-door hatchback.
I'll be honest, when you said you were bringing home an Integra, I was hoping for a lot of heritage, bright yellow, little round headlights, like the Integra we see every time we go to an auto show.
I totally agree. And by the way, I've never loved you more than you having a strong opinion about what the Integra should look like and recalling the golden era of Acura. You wait, we're having a moment.
Aww.
Okay, we can carry on.
You've just made me look at a lot of Integras.
I wore you down. By the way, the version we're driving is the A-Spec. It looks a little different from the basic Integra. What do you guys think? Do you like the look of the Acura Integra? If so, if no, tell us in the comments. Speaking of style, do you like the shirt I'm wearing? It's from Blipshift. They make limited run automotive apparel, and if you've ever seen me in a video, there's like a 99.9% chance I was wearing a Blipshift shirt, and now they're a sponsor of the channel. If you would appreciate automotive-oriented apparel and you want to help support our channel, there's a link in the description below where you can buy Blipshift gear. Even better, new customers can save 20% using the coupon code Micah, link in the description below. Blipshift! Onward to In Motion! The version we're driving has the advanced package, which means it has adaptive dampers. So right now I'm going to switch down over in comfort mode, and it's a little more comfortable. Now I'm going to go to sport mode. It's a little firmer, yeah. But generally speaking, I find it to be a comfortable ride. One thing I wish was maybe a little bit more noise suppression on the freeway. But then again, maybe I was just driving dangerously fast. One unambiguous positive for me, though, is the steering. So we're in a pretty isolated space on a very windy road. So let's just start driving faster. The steering ratio is actually fairly slow right on center, so it's very stable at speed. And then the more you turn, the quicker the steering ratio gets. So it's a variable ratio steering depending on where the angle is, but the overall ratio is really quite fast. It's like 11.5 to 1. That means I don't have to go hand over hand to turn around on these like very, very sharp curves. And there's just this immediacy to the chassis and the steering that I find intoxicating. I also found it really easy to tell when I was kind of approaching the edge of the Integra's handling limits, so it was really easy to play around with and have fun. So the engine feels turbocharged as soon as you put your foot in it, pause, and then the power comes in. So you can feel that turbocharged nature. Not everything has to drive like a V8. Oh, and you notice we're driving the manual. One of the things that the manual has that's super cool, in fact, here, I'm just gonna demonstrate it. If we come to a stop here, count me down, kiddo.
3, 2, 1.
So if we were to go back there, you would see that there were 2 black marks on this very abandoned road we're on. That's because the manual transmission comes with a limited slip differential, and that really helps get power to the ground, making you an even more playful driver in these places where nobody's here, so we can just sort of mess about and have a grand time. There are faster cars, but if you just want to go have fun on a winding mountain road, this is quick enough. Actually, no, it's not quick enough because there's a 320 horsepower Integra Type S coming. 2 last thoughts. Sweetie, watch as I go down here in a second. It automatically blips the accelerator for you, and so you have that auto rev match feature, which makes it really easy to drive this manual transmission. And also, you can turn that off if you like doing heel toe down shifts like I do. Old school. And then last thought, here we go, I'm gonna brake hard. Brake pedal feels great, and we came to a very quick stop.
Whoa.
The brakes work great. All right, I'm done screwing around here. Let's get Sweetie in the driver's seat. Evie's at the wheel, and I know you're not a fan of manual transmissions because you don't drive them all that much.
Correct.
How do you feel driving this manual transmission?
Should I start driving?
Let's see what happens.
All right. Ooh. From a stop, it's actually easy to find the point where I can let out the clutch.
And as a passenger, I'll tell you, that was incredibly smooth. That felt
Ooh.
really good. As you're steering around, does it feel like you've got good control of the car?
It does, and the steering is pretty heavy and precise. Like, there isn't a lot of movement that happens before the car actually starts turning, which is my preferred steering style.
You can make adjustments to that steering heaviness, so if it puts you in comfort mode, that'll actually lighten up it a little bit. You don't have to have such ripped arms. Though you do have ripped arms.
Yes, you do.
How's visibility for you?
Oh my gosh, around this corner, this thin A-pillar is really helping out with visibility. If I were on the freeway, I would really wonder how visibility was over the right shoulder because of that tiny little window back there.
But blind spot warning comes standard in all Integras, so if you do have minor visibility concerns, that is a little bit of reassurance. One last thing, since we haven't talked about the shifter, shift into third. How'd that feel?
It felt good.
All right, on that good feeling, I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Overall, I think there's a lot of fun to be had driving the Integra, but you could also commute in it and it would be great transportation. It's a very well-rounded vehicle with a playful spirit. Moving onward to emotion factor.
This is like the entry-level sedan for the brand, right?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't feel like that at all. It's
No.
very sporty and stylish, lots of emotion.
I think also there is an elevated quality to the Acura brand, perhaps not as much so as telling people you got yourself like a Mercedes or something like that. And I think there's also enough indulgence in here that if you're looking for a step up from a mainstream brand, this could be a nice way to indulge. Are you feeling emotionally drawn to buy an Acura Integra of your very own? If so, you might need to sell your current car first. If you want to know what your current car is worth or how much you should spend on an Acura Integra, click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below. Remarks! Remark number 1, infotainment.
I find this infotainment system very easy to use, and it has my ideal setup, which is a physical button for the home and back button and a physical knob, but the rest of it is a touchscreen. The one thing I would change about this system is I wish the icons were color-coded because I think that makes it easier to tell what's happening.
The standard infotainment screen is 7 inches, and then when you move up to the 9-inch here, you get Alexa built in, and you also get wireless Apple CarPlay versus the wired Apple CarPlay that comes with the base one. Also, Android Auto comes with both systems as well. One note, there is no embedded navigation option available in the Acura Integra, and if you live somewhere that's super remote, it might be nice to have that, but most people are going to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto anyway. Let me round out with 2 compliments and 1 criticism. Compliment 1, there's a thumb space, so you can make steady inputs even if you're driving like a crazy person. 2, I like the response times, it's very snappy. And then 3, this will be the criticism, I wish we had the 12.3-inch display that they have in the Accord.
I don't feel like I need more space.
No, you always need more space. On that note, there's a standard 10.2-inch digital gauge cluster on all Integras. I should also mention 3 features that the Acura Integra does not have. It does not have a spare tire, it does not offer ventilated front seats, and you cannot get a 360-degree camera system. And I know it's a small vehicle, but it also operates in the premium space. I kind of think that 360 cam, especially as a dad who doesn't want to like run over a bike as I'm backing out, would be a really helpful thing. All right, it's time for the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter doesn't like new car smell, and we think other people might feel the same. I'm gonna ask you, kiddo, how do you like the smell of the Acura Integra? Is it good, is it bad, or just okay? It's bad. It smells too much like a new car? Okay, bring your own smell, everybody. And that was the Muzio family smell test, sweetie.
Yeah.
Can I give you a trim recommendation?
Sure.
Our trim recommendation is which trim will give you the essential features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. We're gonna recommend the base $31,300 Integra. It has all the essentials. It's got a full suite of active driver assist tech, a 7-inch infotainment screen with CarPlay and Android Auto, heated front seats, and smart key access with a walkaway auto lock feature. If you wanna go to higher trims, you can get color matched micro suede trimmed seats with power driver seat lumbar. You can get dual zone climate control, a 16-speaker ELS audio system, and front and rear parking sensors. But for our money, the base Integra does the job just fine. All right, let's talk about engine choices. As of when we're making this video, there's one engine, a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, makes 200 horsepower. A continuously variable transmission comes standard, and I have driven it. I don't mind it at all. It fakes being a traditional automatic transmission very well. Oh, and 91 octane is preferred. Potential competitors include the Audi A3, BMW 228i Gran Coupe, and the Mercedes-Benz CLA 250, all of which are more expensive than the Acura Integra. And then if you're looking for something that's less expensive than the Acura Integra, you can get the fanciest Honda Civic hatchback, and you can get it with a manual, so it has 180 horsepower, it has some very nice features in it, but for less than the base price of the cheapest Integra. And then if you're feeling sassy and you want the exact same powertrain situation, you can get the Honda Civic Si for like $28,500. Hey, did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the Acura Integra, there are cheaper ways to have a roughly similar experience, but you know, every once in a while, it is nice to indulge. To me, it is the diner grilled cheese of small premium sedans. It's a little more expensive, but you know, you're worth it. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Acura Integra. May I have a 5 and a 5? You! Come get your high five. Bam!